If you've been watching the news, you know the market is bracing for a major recession. The Federal Reserve just hiked interest rates by 50 basis points, with at least 2 more 50-point hikes expected soon. The stock market has plummeted, with the Nasdaq Composite being down 26% this year alone, and numerous experts believe that the housing market is nearing a substantial crash. But with everything going crazy, what many people may be forgetting is that the recession is probably not coming, because the truth is, it's likely already here. Hi guys, I'm Jeremy from Ask Jeremy, and today we're going to talk about what a recession actually is and what you can do to set yourself up for success in the midst of the chaos. But first, don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, so how do we measure if there is a recession? A recession takes place when a country experiences back-to-back quarters of negative GDP, or gross domestic product. If you're not familiar, gross domestic product is what we use to measure a country's value of goods and services for a period of time. Or to put it in layman's terms, it's how we measure a country's economic growth. If a country's economy shrinks for 2 quarters in a row, or 6 months total, then a recession has taken place. Why is that a big deal? Well, if a company starts to believe that the economy is shrinking, then they're going to start finding ways to cut costs as soon as possible. Because if they are a publicly traded company, then they have an obligation to keep their stock price as high as possible. And one of the easiest ways to do that in a recession is to start downsizing departments and getting rid of as many employees as they can. So why do I think that the recession may already be happening? Well, remember, a recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP in a row. But we don't know whether or not the GDP will be negative until the quarter is over. In the first quarter, the GDP decreased at an annual rate of 1.4%. But we won't know if this quarter is negative until it's over. If it is, then that will mean that we have been in a recession this whole year without being aware of it. But even if we don't know if the recession is here, the company you work for may decide that they need to start thinning the herd and making some tough employment decisions just in case it turns out we are in a recession. So what can you do to prepare yourself for the worst? Well, the first thing I would recommend is to make sure that you have an emergency fund. Typically, you want to have about 6 months of income saved away just in case you lose your primary source of income all of a sudden. If you are self-employed, you still need to follow the same advice. One way to do this would be to start looking around the house for things you no longer need or use that you could get some additional cash for. You could also get a part-time job while companies are still hiring. You could also start volunteering for overtime if that's possible. This will not only show that you're a valuable employee, but it will be a way to store up additional funds for a rainy day. And in general, it wouldn't be a bad idea to find any way possible to make yourself as indispensable as possible to your employee. That way, if your job does start to cut people, you'll increase your likelihood to survive the cuts. If you follow the stock market, you probably saw that it took a huge plunge yesterday. And so if you already have plenty of savings, it might be a good idea to start buying the dip on those stocks that you have strong beliefs in and are probably available at a discount right now. This is not financial advice, but it is what I'm doing at the moment. Me personally, I'm also going shopping for another investment property to purchase and rent out. Because as a real estate agent, if my real estate clientele starts to dry up on me, I want to have as many passive streams of income as possible. I plan on making a future video about how I got the cash to purchase another investment property and how I'm taking advantage of a rare opportunity to make profit on a car that I bought 3 years ago. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, then please subscribe. And if you have real estate and wealth building questions, just ask Jeremy by commenting down below. Thanks guys, best of luck out there.